Hewitt off.
Great. So I'm Maureen Burgess. I'm the chair of the English department at the Hewitt School, and I advise a social justice club called Action here at Hewitt. And last spring, I went to a TEDx conference that was organized by my colleague, Arvin Grover, and some other educational tech people in independent schools here in New York City, and it was held in March at Collegiate. It was TEDx NYED. And I was inspired by the nature of the event that gathered together so many different innovative thinkers in the field of education and information literacy. That I thought it was a great learning platform. One of the things that came up during the event was, why aren't the kids here as part of the dialogue? And someone mentioned that there was a movement to have events hosted around the world on November 20th in honor of Universal Children's Day, which is established by the UN. And I thought this is a great project for the students at Hewitt to work very tangibly on organizing an event that met our club's mission, which is to educate ourselves and our school community on issues of social justice, and also to teach us and provide us with opportunities to take action. So the TEDxYouth Day, the organizers around the globe, and they really were around the globe: Tokyo, Singapore, Mexico City, Amsterdam, New York City, number of venues in the United States and abroad, decided on "Be the Change" from the Mahatma Gandhi quotation, "Be the change. You must be the change you wish to see in the world." So we took "Be the Change." And then, as a women's institution, the girls in particular, really wanted to have a focus on ways that young women can be the change they wish to see in the world. So from there, we started out getting speakers.
Talk about some of the speakers and what were some of the highlights from TEDx, which happened this past Saturday.
Boy, it's hard for me to even narrow down to any one particular speaker, but I think that our first slate was called "Be the Change, Giving Voice," and we began with two speakers who come from very different places in addressing the same topic. One was Amita Swadhin, who is a public policy advocate and also an advocate for survivors of child sexual abuse. She herself is a survivor. And she's working with a theater project currently that is based on oral histories, interviews that she has done with other survivors. And she has put together a theater project that's currently in rehearsals. The production will be on March 12th. And it really is a means of helping victims of this kind of abuse, which is often so stigmatized that people don't want to come forward, to feel that they not only can tell their stories, but it's very important to tell their stories, and that these stories can be both personally healing and also politically empowering in terms of advocating for changes in the legal justice system. She was followed by a district attorney, Assistant District Attorney Audrey Stone in the Westchester office, who is a former director of the Women's Pace Justice Center and is the special prosecutor in charge of the bureau that prosecutes cases of domestic violence, child abuse, and elder abuse. And so she was able to talk more specifically to how her office interfaces with social services to help people who are often some of our most vulnerable victims, who are often living with their abuser, to feel that they can come forward and that they can get justice and they can find a place of safety. And as a woman, Audrey talked about why she thinks it's very important for women to do this kind of legal work.
A closing thought as far as what you felt was positive, a great takeaway, something that was particularly striking for you.
I was struck in particular how the day came together to make a statement of the power of storytelling, the power that we each have to tell stories, but also to create spaces for other people to tell stories that perhaps have not always been allowed to be heard or voiced. And I think it taught us a lot about the necessity of listening with an open heart. So we had two performers from Urban Word NYC who used their spoken slam poetry, which is their style, to really engage the students in the power of a personal voice to stand up and say, this is who I am. I'm thinking of Mogeti Thinane, whose stage name is Mega, and who performed a poem called Ugly that was about, it was his adult self, he's 19 now and a student at FIT, speaking to his middle school bullied self. He was bullied as a boy, and really coming to terms with the violence that he experienced, but also with a lot of humor and joy and celebration of the fact that he is beautiful, and trying to tell that 12-year-old self that what it means to be, I think it was as beautiful as church, I think was the line he used that his mother had told him. And I think, and so many of our different speakers, Amy Unell, a former Today Show producer who has made an independent film about a man, a coach, who deeply inspired her and a number of people. I mean, she made that film particularly to show us that it's important to honor and tell the stories of people who have done good for us and who have provided role models, because that's a way for us to recognize and honor the people who've done that for us, and also hopefully to become people who will do that for other people. Arthur Levine said, if you save just one life, if you reach out and touch someone and do things that maybe you didn't even realize, and for him particularly, it's in the role of being an educator. Ileana Jimenez, who was here from Little Red Elizabeth Irwin, and her students, who talked about, male and female, about why they're feminists and why it's important for young people. And each one personalized it in terms of his or her own life experience. I think that there were so many moments as a teacher, as a learner, that I took away, particularly Ileana as a teacher, her words on being a feminist teacher and how she came to that position, and dovetailed profoundly with my own thoughts, even though our stories are very different. So yeah, I think it was, we kind of unintentionally came away with the power of telling stories through blogging, through Twittering. I mean, Krupali Tejura telling the stories of cancer victims, Dana Laurie, telling the story of surviving cancer and writing an essay about it for Gilda's Club, and going on the Stupid Cancer internet radio show.